Okay, so what do we have? If we have just any old function, f of x, and we're given the value x naught of x, now up here I've got x1 and y1, but remember, if I wanted to call these x naught and y naught, it wouldn't change the meaning at all. Okay? And I could easily do that. I just replace the ones by zeros. Now I've just got different names for the coordinates of my point on the line. In this case, the point is x naught and f of x naught. Why? Because this is the x coordinate, and this is what y is equal to if x is equal to this. So this is your y coordinate. Okay, so now what's the slope? Okay, think about it. If you don't know, think about it for at least 2 minutes. Think back to everything we've said, everything we've talked about. If you don't have it at that time, or if you're just so rushed that you got to do this without thinking, well, it's not what I recommend, but I understand how it could happen. Okay, what's the slope? Okay, hopefully you've paused, hopefully you answered it right away. But the slope is the derivative, and hopefully you recognize that the slope was the derivative. At what point would you take the derivative? What value would you put in here? Again, pause and think about it for a minute. It should come to you if you don't already see it. Hopefully you paused. Now you've got to put the same x value in because you're looking at this point on the graph, and this is the slope at that point of the graph, the slope of the tangent line. So now the tangent line is, yeah, again, you ought to sit down, stop for a second and write it out. Right there is the equation of a straight line if you know the point and the slope. What have we used to represent the x and y coordinates of the point? What have we used to represent the slope? You know, just put those things into this equation. Okay, hopefully you paused. You're going to get y minus, okay, y1. y1 represents the y value, the y coordinate of the point that you know, and that's f of x naught. And now what's the slope? It's f prime of x naught, so slope goes here. It's f prime of x naught multiplied by what? X minus x1. Again, x1 being the coordinate of the point, which here we've called x naught. So it's x minus x naught. Now you put the f of x on the other side. I don't have time to write that out, but you ought to, especially if that's the way it looks in your textbook, so you know just what your textbook was telling you when it wrote that thing down. Okay, y will equal f prime of x naught. Prime is maybe a little hard to see, make it a little more prominent. F prime of x naught times x minus x naught. If I add x naught, I get y equals f of x naught plus f prime of x naught times x minus x naught. And I'll kind of write that down up here, because this is a really common and important form. Okay. All this represents is the equation of a straight line. Through the point x naught, f of x naught, with slope f prime of x naught. Now there are other ways to think of this equation, to think of this line, that are going to be more conducive to actually using the equation. But right there is the equation, and there's not much mystery to it. You should be able to connect this to this to this.